Anger is killing your happiness. Introduction. Anger is like a thief in the night, quietly stealing your happiness, peace, and health. As the famous quote goes, "You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger." It's a powerful emotion that may seem justified in the moment, but over time, it silently eats away at your emotional stability, relationships, and physical well-being. The truth is, anger often controls us, dictating our actions and clouding our judgment. But what if you could stop anger from ruling your life? What if you could break free from its grip and reclaim the peace and happiness you deserve? In this book, we're going to confront the truth about anger, why it controls us, how it damages us, and how we can break free from it for good. The only way to stop anger from robbing you of your joy is to understand its root causes, confront it head-on, and make a commitment to inner peace. Through this journey, you'll discover powerful tools and techniques to regain control, shift your mindset, and embrace a life filled with serenity. Are you ready to take that first step? Let's begin this life-changing journey together. Chapter 1. The core of anger, beyond ignorance. Anger often feels like a knee-jerk reaction, something that springs up instantly when something goes wrong or when we feel attacked. We tend to think of it as an emotion caused by external events or other people's behavior. However, the truth is that anger is much more complex than simply reacting to what's happening around us. Beneath the surface, anger often stems from much deeper emotional roots that are often not immediately apparent. When we react with anger, it's usually a sign that there are unresolved feelings, past experiences, and even fears at play that have not been addressed. Anger often comes from feelings of insecurity. Perhaps you feel misunderstood, disrespected, or as though your needs are being ignored. When you feel vulnerable in a situation, anger can arise as a defense mechanism to protect your sense of self. It's the mind's way of creating a barrier between you and those feelings of insecurity. Similarly, fear plays a significant role in anger. Whether it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of not being good enough, these unspoken fears can trigger anger when they are triggered or threatened. Additionally, anger can be a mask for deeper, unhealed wounds, whether they're from past relationships, traumatic experiences, or disappointments that have never been processed. These old wounds often get activated in situations where we feel powerless, and the anger serves as a way to cover up the hurt we still carry. By understanding anger on a deeper level, we begin to recognize that it's not just about what's happening in the moment, but about how we feel and how our past influences the present. This realization allows us to approach anger with greater compassion and less judgment. Rather than getting frustrated with ourselves or others for being angry, we can start to look at it as a signal, a message from our mind and body that there are things within us that need attention. When we can move beyond surface-level reactions and dig deeper into why we feel angry, we start to unravel the emotions and triggers that fuel it. By understanding its roots, you can learn to transform it into something positive, an opportunity for self-awareness and emotional growth. Anger doesn't need to control you. Instead, it can become a catalyst for uncovering the deeper parts of yourself that need healing and growth. When you begin to understand the core of your anger, you stop being ruled by it and instead gain the power to change how you respond. You'll start to realize that by looking beyond the anger, you open up the space for personal transformation and growth. Chapter 2. Don't allow the comments and attitudes of others to control your life. We all have experienced moments when someone's comment or attitude triggers a wave of anger within us. It might be an offhand remark, a rude gesture, or the feeling of being disrespected. In those moments, it can feel like your emotional state is entirely in the hands of others, and that their words or behavior control how you feel. However, this is a trap that many of us fall into, believing that external opinions or actions have the power to dictate our internal peace. The truth is, we always have the choice to control how we respond to others, and we must learn not to give away our emotional power. The comments and attitudes of others often reflect more about them than they do about you. People speak based on their own beliefs, insecurities, and experiences. When someone is rude or judgmental, it's often a projection of their own frustrations or struggles. It's important to remember that their words are not a reflection of your worth or your character. Too often, we internalize other people's negative comments as if they are truths about us. In doing so, we let them dictate how we feel and react. This chapter will help you understand why it's essential not to allow someone else's words or attitudes to control your emotional state. By detaching yourself from the opinions of others, you can reclaim control over how you feel. The key to releasing the power that others' attitudes have over you is to practice emotional detachment. This doesn't mean you become indifferent or stop caring about others. Rather, it means you stop letting external opinions dictate your happiness. Emotional detachment allows you to listen to criticism or negative comments without taking them personally. Instead of reacting with anger, you can choose to respond thoughtfully or simply let the comment pass without internalizing it. One powerful technique to help you detach is to practice mindfulness. By being present and aware of your emotional state in the moment, you can recognize when you're being triggered by someone else's attitude. With mindfulness, you can create a pause between the stimulus, the comment or behavior, and your reaction. This gives you the space to choose a calmer, more measured response, rather than instantly reacting with anger or frustration. Over time, this practice will help you become less affected by the attitudes and comments of others, freeing you from the emotional roller coaster that comes with constantly reacting to external influences. Another important aspect of not allowing others to control your emotional state is to build a strong sense of self-worth. When you have confidence in who you are and what you stand for, the opinions of others lose their power over you. Knowing your own value makes it much easier to brush off negativity and not let it shake your peace. By focusing on self-love and self-respect, you will be able to maintain your emotional stability, regardless of how others may treat you. This chapter will help you break free from the cycle of reacting to others' opinions, empowering you to take control of your emotional life. Instead of allowing external attitudes to dictate your inner peace, you'll learn to choose your emotional responses. You'll realize that the power to control your happiness lies within you, not in the hands of others. Chapter 3. Self-reflection is your superpower. One of the most powerful tools you can have for overcoming anger is the ability to self-reflect. It's easy to react impulsively in moments of anger, but when we take a step back and reflect on what's truly driving those emotions, we gain valuable insights that can lead to real transformation. Self-reflection isn't just about thinking over what happened. It's about diving deep into why you feel angry in the first place and understanding the underlying causes of those emotions. By becoming an observer of your own reactions, you can begin to see patterns, uncover hidden triggers, and ultimately choose healthier ways to respond. Anger often arises from places that we may not even be consciously aware of. For example, you might feel angry because someone has disrespected you, but that anger could actually be masking deeper emotions such as hurt, fear, or vulnerability. Self-reflection allows you to dig beneath the surface and recognize these hidden emotions. When you do this, you start to understand that your anger isn't just about the situation you're in right now, but about unresolved emotions from the past or unmet needs. With this awareness, you no longer need to react mindlessly to anger. Instead, you can address the root causes of the emotion, which is far more productive and healing. Taking time to reflect also helps you become more aware of your emotional triggers. Triggers are specific situations, behaviors, or words that set off intense emotional reactions, like anger. When you reflect on past incidents where anger arose, you may start to see patterns in what caused those feelings. For example, you might realize that you get angry when you feel ignored, when someone challenges your authority, or when things don't go according to plan. By identifying these triggers, you can prepare yourself for future situations and decide in advance how you will respond. This gives you the power to choose calm over chaos and peace over anger. Self-reflection helps you understand how your upbringing, past experiences, and personal beliefs shape the way you experience and express anger. Maybe you grew up in a household where anger was expressed explosively, and you've unconsciously adopted that as a way to deal with frustration, or perhaps past experiences of betrayal or disappointment are fueling your current emotional responses. By understanding these connections, you can start to unravel the emotional baggage that makes you more prone to anger. This chapter will guide you in using self-reflection as a tool to uncover these influences, giving you the clarity and wisdom to heal and move forward. The process of self-reflection doesn't require hours of meditation or complex rituals. It can be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to journal, meditate, or simply sit quietly and think about your emotional experiences. When you reflect on your anger, ask yourself questions like, what was I really feeling in that moment? What triggered this reaction? What need of mine was not being met? By answering these questions, you open the door to self-awareness and emotional healing. The real power of self-reflection is that it gives you the opportunity to break free from reactive patterns and take conscious control of your emotions. Instead of allowing anger to dictate your actions, you'll learn to understand your feelings, gain insights into your triggers, and choose healthier responses. This practice helps you grow emotionally and become more resilient, enabling you to face difficult situations with a clear mind and a calm heart. Self-reflection is truly a superpower because it empowers you to transform anger from a destructive force into a tool for personal growth. By regularly engaging in self-reflection, you're able to understand your emotions, heal old wounds, and create lasting change in how you respond to the world around you. Chapter 4. Discover the strength in stillness and silence. In today's fast-paced world where everything seems to be moving at 1,000 miles per hour, it's easy to become overwhelmed by emotions like anger. We're constantly bombarded with stimuli, whether it's through our phones, the news, or our busy schedules, and we're often encouraged to react quickly and decisively. Yet one of the most powerful ways to combat anger and regain control over our emotional lives is by embracing the power of stillness and silence. When we're angry, our minds tend to race. Thoughts swirl around us, usually focused on the source of our anger and how we want to react. In these moments, it can feel as though our emotions are completely in charge, and it's hard to regain clarity or perspective. But what if, instead of allowing anger to dominate, you could pause, step back, and create a moment of stillness for yourself? This simple shift has the potential to transform your relationship with anger entirely. Stillness is not about shutting off your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about creating a space where you can observe your anger without being controlled by it. When you practice stillness, you allow yourself to feel your emotions fully without immediately reacting. You give yourself permission to breathe, to pause, and to process your feelings. In these moments, you can detach from the intensity of the anger and begin to see it for what it truly is, a temporary feeling that doesn't define you or control your life. Silence is another powerful tool in this process. When you're angry, it's easy to lash out with words, or to get caught in a cycle of overthinking, analyzing, and justifying your anger. However, silence creates space for reflection and self-awareness. When you stop talking and let yourself be silent, your mind slows down and you allow room for clarity. In silence, you can ask yourself important questions like, "Why am I really angry?" or "What is this anger trying to teach me?" These questions help you move from a place of reactivity to one of introspection and growth. The strength in stillness and silence comes from the fact that it allows you to choose your response rather than being a prisoner to your emotions. In the heat of anger, we often say or do things that we later regret. But by practicing stillness and silence, you create a gap between the stimulus, what made you angry, and your reaction. This gives you the mental and emotional space to choose how to respond, rather than just reacting automatically. Instead of allowing anger to dictate your actions, you can respond with calmness, reason, and clarity. You don't need to meditate for hours or find a quiet room in order to experience the benefits of stillness. You can practice this technique anywhere, in a moment of frustration at work, in traffic, or even at home when tensions rise. The key is to stop and take a breath, allowing yourself to be present with the emotion without rushing to act on it. Over time, this practice becomes second nature. You begin to recognize the signs of anger before it takes full control, and you can easily bring yourself back to a state of stillness. Embracing silence and stillness can help you gain deeper insights into the root causes of your anger. When you allow your mind to settle, you create a space to hear your true feelings and reflect on the deeper issues that might be driving your emotional response. Anger is often a mask for other emotions, fear, insecurity, hurt, or frustration, and when you sit in silence, you allow these emotions to surface, giving you the chance to process and heal them. It's not just something you do in moments of anger, it's something that, when practiced regularly, can lead to greater emotional balance and self-control. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting quietly for a few minutes each day, stillness allows you to center yourself and build emotional resilience. By making silence a regular part of your life, you'll develop the inner strength to face challenges with calmness and clarity, no matter how angry or upset you may feel in the moment. The power of stillness and silence is transformative. It's a simple yet profound way to regain control over your emotions and stop anger from dictating your life. By making space for these practices, you not only reduce the hold anger has on you, but also build a foundation for peace, calm, and emotional clarity that will serve you in every area of your life. Chapter 5. Use mindfulness to channel your anger. Anger can feel like a powerful, uncontrollable force that sweeps over you in an instant. It can be triggered by something someone says, a situation that feels unfair, or an unexpected obstacle in your path. In these moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the intensity of the emotion, and often our first instinct is to react, whether by shouting, withdrawing, or acting impulsively. But what if there was a way to stop, take a breath, and channel that anger into something constructive rather than letting it spiral out of control? That's where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, without judgment, and without trying to change or escape your feelings. When you practice mindfulness, you learn to observe your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without getting caught up in them. In the case of anger, mindfulness gives you the ability to pause, step back, and gain awareness of the emotion without letting it consume you. It allows you to become the observer of your anger, rather than being controlled by it. One of the most powerful ways mindfulness can help you channel your anger is by teaching you to observe the physical sensations that come with it. When you feel angry, your body experiences a surge of energy. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tighten, and you may feel a rush of heat or tension. In these moments, your body is trying to signal that something is wrong, but rather than acting on this energy in a harmful way, mindfulness teaches you to simply observe it. By paying attention to the sensations in your body, you can create space between the stimulus, what made you angry, and your reaction. This space allows you to decide how to respond instead of reacting automatically. One of the core components of mindfulness is deep breathing. When you're angry, your breath becomes shallow and rapid, which can increase feelings of anxiety and frustration. But by consciously slowing down your breath and taking deep, steady inhales and exhales, you activate the body's relaxation response, which helps to calm the nervous system and reduce the intensity of anger. In those moments when you feel anger building, take a few deep breaths and bring your attention to the sensation of your breath entering and leaving your body. This simple act can help ground you and shift your focus from the emotional charge to the physical sensation of calmness. Mindfulness also allows you to notice the thoughts that fuel your anger. Often, anger is triggered by certain beliefs or interpretations we have about a situation. For example, you might get angry because you feel that someone is treating you unfairly or disrespecting you. In these moments, mindfulness helps you identify the thoughts that are fueling your anger. Thoughts like, "This isn't right," or "I can't believe they did that to me." Once you become aware of these thoughts, you can challenge them. Are these thoughts accurate? Are they helpful? By questioning the narrative in your mind, you can often see that your anger is based on assumptions or distorted perceptions. This awareness allows you to reframe the situation in a more balanced, less emotionally charged way. A key aspect of mindfulness is non-judgment, accepting whatever emotions you are feeling without labeling them as good or bad. When you feel anger, it's easy to judge yourself for being too sensitive or out of control, but this only makes the anger worse. Instead, mindfulness teaches you to accept your anger as it is, without self-criticism. You acknowledge it, understand it, and then choose to respond in a way that aligns with your values, rather than reacting out of impulse. This non-judgmental approach also helps you practice self-compassion. Instead of condemning yourself for being angry, you can treat yourself with kindness and understanding, recognizing that anger is a natural emotion. What matters is how you choose to handle it. As you develop mindfulness, you'll also begin to notice the space between the trigger and your reaction. In the past, you might have immediately reacted in anger, but with mindfulness, you learn to pause. This pause creates room for you to respond thoughtfully, whether that means taking a moment to breathe, stepping away from the situation, or choosing to respond calmly instead of defensively. Over time, this mindfulness practice can help you respond to anger with more clarity, patience, and wisdom. Mindfulness also helps you channel your anger into something productive. When you feel the surge of anger rising, instead of allowing it to explode or implode, you can channel that energy into a constructive action. For example, you might choose to express your feelings calmly and assertively, take a walk to release tension, or use the energy of anger to fuel a creative project or physical exercise. By channeling your anger in a positive direction, you not only release the built-up energy, but also create something beneficial in the process. Rather than viewing anger as something to suppress or fight against, you'll learn to approach it with awareness, acceptance, and compassion. By practicing mindfulness regularly, you'll become more adept at recognizing when anger arises, observing it without judgment, and choosing to channel it into a response that aligns with your true self. Over time, this will help you cultivate a deeper sense of emotional balance, self-control, and peace. Chapter 6. Elevate your life with the power of gratitude. When we're consumed by anger, it's easy to focus on what's wrong in our lives. the things that upset us, the people who frustrate us, and the situations that feel unfair. In these moments, it can feel like everything is going wrong and that we're trapped in a cycle of negativity. But there is a powerful antidote to anger, and that antidote is gratitude. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you for the good things in your life. It's a mindset, a way of seeing the world that shifts your focus from what's missing or what's wrong to what's abundant and positive. And this shift can have a profound impact on your emotional well-being, especially when it comes to dealing with anger. When you practice gratitude, you train your brain to notice the positive aspects of your life, even when you're facing challenges or frustrations. It's easy to get caught up in anger because we're often hyper-focused on the negative things that are happening. However, gratitude allows you to break free from this pattern by reminding you of all the things you have to be thankful for, no matter how small they may seem. This simple shift in perspective can help you see things in a new light and reduce the power of anger in your life. Gratitude is particularly powerful because it shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. When you're angry, you might feel like life is unfair, like everything is against you, and like you're constantly losing out. These feelings often stem from a perception of lack, whether it's lack of respect, recognition, or fairness. Gratitude helps you flip that mindset. By focusing on the things you are grateful for, you remind yourself that there is much in your life that is going well, that you have enough, and that you are blessed in many ways. Even in difficult times, finding moments of gratitude can help you feel more grounded and less overwhelmed by anger. One of the most effective ways to practice gratitude is through a gratitude journal. Every day, take a few moments to write down 3 to 5 things that you are grateful for. These don't have to be big things. Sometimes the smallest things can bring the most joy. You might be thankful for a kind gesture from a friend, a beautiful sunset, a delicious meal, or the simple fact that you woke up today. The key is to focus on the positive and make it a habit. By regularly acknowledging what's going well in your life, you begin to rewire your brain to seek out the positive, even in difficult situations. Another powerful practice is to express your gratitude to others. When we're angry, it's easy to take the people around us for granted or focus on their flaws. But by intentionally expressing gratitude to those around us, we shift the dynamic of our relationships and create more positive energy. Take a moment each day to tell someone you appreciate them, whether it's for something big or small. It could be thanking a coworker for their support, telling a friend how much they mean to you, or simply acknowledging a family member for their love and care. Not only does this cultivate positive relationships, but it also helps to shift your focus away from frustration and toward appreciation. Gratitude also helps you reframe your anger. When something happens that makes you angry, it's easy to get stuck in the negative emotions and focus on how unfair or frustrating the situation is. However, by practicing gratitude, you can reframe the situation and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Or, what positive aspects can I find in this challenge? Instead of focusing on how much you've been wronged, you begin to see opportunities for growth, learning, or connection. This shift in perspective helps you release the grip of anger and create space for peace and acceptance. Gratitude can help you feel more in control of your emotions. Anger often arises when we feel powerless, when things aren't going our way, or when we feel disrespected. Gratitude empowers us by helping us focus on what we do have control over. It helps us recognize that no matter what happens in the outside world, we can always choose how we react. Practicing gratitude allows us to feel more at peace with ourselves and the world around us, reducing the need to fight against things that we can't control. The more you practice gratitude, the easier it becomes to see the positive aspects of life, even in difficult moments. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings of anger or frustration. It means acknowledging those emotions while also choosing to focus on the good. By making gratitude a part of your daily life, you begin to shift your emotional focus from what's wrong to what's right, from scarcity to abundance, and from frustration to peace. It's a simple yet profound tool that allows you to transform your mindset and your emotional state. Gratitude doesn't eliminate anger, but it does provide a healthier, more empowering way to handle it. By incorporating gratitude into your daily life, you'll begin to notice how your emotional landscape changes, how your anger becomes less frequent, less intense, and more manageable. Ultimately, gratitude helps you cultivate a sense of peace and joy, even in the face of life's challenges. Chapter 7. Trust the natural order. Let go of control. One of the most common sources of anger in our lives is the constant struggle to control outcomes, situations, and the behavior of others. We are often taught that success, happiness, and peace are things we must control and achieve, but this mindset can lead to frustration, anxiety, and, ultimately, anger. When things don't go as planned, when situations fall apart, or when people don't behave the way we expect them to, it can feel like a personal attack or a failure. This chapter is about understanding that trying to control everything is not only exhausting, but also counterproductive. Instead of holding on tightly to the reins of life, we can learn to trust the natural order and let go of the need for control. At its core, the desire for control is often rooted in fear of the unknown, fear of failure, and fear of not being good enough. We fear that if we don't manage every detail, things will go wrong, and we'll be left with negative consequences. This fear leads us to micromanage, overplan, and try to manipulate situations to fit our ideal outcomes. However, what we often fail to recognize is that no matter how hard we try, there are always variables outside of our control. Life is unpredictable, and trying to control every aspect of it leads only to stress and frustration. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up on your goals or surrendering to chaos. Instead, it's about recognizing that you can influence your life, but you can't always control every outcome. This chapter encourages you to trust in the natural flow of life and to allow things to unfold as they will, knowing that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. When you stop forcing things into a specific shape and start accepting them as they are, you open yourself to the peace and flexibility that comes with acceptance. Trusting the natural order also involves recognizing that life has a way of working itself out, even if things don't happen according to your plan. Sometimes the unexpected detours, delays, or challenges are exactly what you need for growth and personal development. When you resist these natural shifts and try to control everything, you miss out on opportunities for learning, adaptation, and resilience. Letting go of control means surrendering to the process of life, trusting that things will unfold as they should, and having faith in your ability to handle whatever arises. A key part of this process is accepting that you cannot change the past or control the future. The more we hold on to regrets or worry about what's next, the more we invite stress and frustration into our lives. The act of letting go requires us to focus on the present moment, on what we can do right now, not on what we wish had been different or what might happen in the future. By grounding yourself in the present, you free yourself from the mental clutter that comes from trying to control things that are out of your hands. When you trust the natural order, you begin to notice the beauty in the present moment. You stop focusing on what's missing or what's wrong, and instead, you start to see life as it is, with all its imperfections, unpredictability, and hidden blessings. You realize that things don't need to be perfect to be good. Life is about progress, growth, and adaptation, not about control or perfection. One of the most powerful aspects of letting go of control is that it helps to reduce the anger that comes from frustration. When you're trying to control something and it doesn't go your way, the emotional response is often anger. But when you release the need to control and accept that things are unfolding as they should, you eliminate the emotional resistance that fuels anger. You no longer feel the need to fight against life or others. Instead, you feel more at peace with how things are. This doesn't mean you stop taking action or setting goals. It simply means you stop forcing things to happen and start trusting the process. Another important part of this chapter is learning to trust in the timing of your life. Many times we get angry because things aren't happening fast enough or because we don't see immediate results. We're conditioned to want things now, and when we don't get them, it feels like we're failing or being overlooked. But life has its own rhythm and timing, and sometimes waiting is part of the journey. Trusting the natural order means trusting that the right things will come at the right time. Patience becomes your ally, and you learn to let go of the need to rush through life, embracing each step as it comes. Letting go of control is also about releasing the grip on how others should behave or how they should treat you. We all have expectations of others, whether it's how our friends, family, or co-workers should act or how we want to be treated in certain situations. When others don't meet those expectations, it can lead to frustration and anger. But when you let go of these expectations and accept people as they are, you free yourself from the anger that comes with unmet desires. People will behave according to their own choices, and while you can set boundaries and express your needs, you cannot control their actions. By accepting this, you let go of the emotional burden of trying to change others, and you create space for more peace and understanding in your relationships. It's about understanding that life doesn't need to be forced or controlled. It simply needs to be lived. When you trust the natural flow of things and let go of the need for constant control, you invite peace, acceptance, and calm into your life. You stop resisting what is and start embracing what comes, knowing that you have the strength and wisdom to navigate whatever arises. Letting go of control doesn't make you passive. It makes you powerful. It gives you the freedom to live without constantly battling life, and it allows you to find happiness in the process, not just in the outcome. Trust in the natural order, and you will discover a deep sense of peace and contentment that cannot be shaken by the unpredictability of life. Chapter 8. The Power of Letting Go, Cultivating Inner Peace and Lasting Happiness. Letting go is one of the most powerful tools you can use to free yourself from the grip of anger, stress, and negativity. Yet, it's often one of the hardest things for people to do. We hold on to our anger, resentment, hurt, and fear as if they are somehow a part of us. We believe that holding on to these emotions gives us control over our circumstances or allows us to protect ourselves from future pain. But in reality, holding on to these feelings only keeps us trapped in cycles of emotional distress and unhappiness. In this chapter, we'll explore the transformative power of letting go, how it helps you release negativity, find inner peace, and create lasting happiness in your life. The first thing to understand about letting go is that it doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing your feelings. Letting go isn't about pretending that you're fine when you're not, or pushing away emotions that are difficult to face. Instead, it's about accepting your feelings fully, without judgment, and then consciously choosing to release them so they no longer control you. When you let go, you stop holding on to the past and allow yourself to live in the present moment, free from the emotional baggage that keeps you stuck. A major reason people struggle with letting go is the fear of what it means for their identity. We often define ourselves by our past experiences, the pain we've been through, the people who have wronged us, or the failures we've faced. We hold on to these experiences because they shape our sense of self, and we fear that without them, we won't know who we are. But the truth is, you are not defined by your past. You are constantly evolving, and by letting go of the negative emotions and memories associated with past events, you create space for a new version of yourself to emerge, one that is free from the weight of old hurts. One of the most liberating aspects of letting go is the freedom it brings. Holding on to anger, grudges, and past pain keeps you emotionally tethered to those experiences. It's like carrying a heavy backpack full of rocks wherever you go. But when you choose to let go of these emotional burdens, you lighten your load and free yourself from the constant weight of negativity. The freedom that comes with letting go isn't just physical, it's emotional and mental as well. You no longer feel weighed down by the past, and you can approach life with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. Letting go also allows you to embrace forgiveness. Often, we hold on to anger or resentment because we feel like forgiving others means excusing their behavior or letting them off the hook. But forgiveness isn't about condoning someone else's actions. It's about releasing yourself from the emotional grip those actions have on you. When you forgive, you free yourself from the anger and pain that comes with holding on to hurt. This doesn't mean that what happened to you wasn't important or that you shouldn't stand up for yourself. It simply means that you are no longer allowing the past to control your present happiness. This process of letting go can also be applied to the things you cannot change. Life is full of things that are beyond our control, whether it's the actions of others, unexpected setbacks, or circumstances that feel unfair. Holding on to the desire to control everything can lead to frustration and anger because the reality is that not everything can be managed or fixed. Letting go in this context means accepting that some things are out of your hands, and that's okay. By releasing the need to control every outcome, you allow yourself to trust the process of life, and in doing so, you open yourself to new possibilities and greater peace. A significant part of letting go is learning to release expectations. We often get angry when things don't meet our expectations, whether it's how someone treats us, how life unfolds, or how we envision our future. Expectations set us up for disappointment because they are based on how we think things should be, rather than how they actually are. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean you stop striving for your goals or desiring good things in your life. It simply means accepting that things may not always go according to plan, and that's okay. When you stop holding on to rigid expectations, you free yourself from frustration and open yourself to the beauty of life's surprises. A powerful way to practice letting go is through mindfulness and meditation. These practices allow you to be present in the moment and observe your thoughts and feelings without attachment. When you meditate, you learn to notice when negative thoughts or emotions arise and let them pass without holding on to them. You can do the same with anger. Instead of letting it take root and control your actions, you observe it, acknowledge it, and then consciously choose to release it. The more you practice mindfulness and meditation, the easier it becomes to let go of negative emotions before they overwhelm you. Another important aspect of letting go is learning to embrace vulnerability. Often we hold on to anger and fear because we feel that letting go means we're being weak or exposing ourselves to further hurt. But in reality, letting go requires great strength and courage. When you let go of your anger, you open yourself up to the possibility of healing, connection, and joy. Vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is the doorway to true emotional freedom and personal growth. Letting go allows you to experience life in a much more peaceful, fulfilling way. You no longer feel tied to the past or the expectations of others. You can live in the present moment, fully experiencing everything it has to offer without being weighed down by anger or fear. When you let go of the things that no longer serve you, you make room for peace, happiness, and a deep sense of inner contentment. Letting go is a practice that takes time and effort, but the rewards are immeasurable. As you begin to release your anger, your grudges, your need for control, and your unrealistic expectations, you'll discover a new sense of freedom, peace, and happiness. By letting go, you make room for the life you deserve, a life filled with joy, acceptance, and the ability to move forward without the emotional baggage that has been holding you back. Chapter 9. Embrace your inner strength. Cultivating resilience against anger. Anger can feel like an overwhelming emotion that takes over our thoughts, bodies, and actions. But what if you had the inner strength to stand firm against it? What if instead of succumbing to anger when it arises, you could confront it with a sense of resilience, confidence, and emotional strength? This chapter is about discovering your inner power and learning to cultivate the resilience that enables you to face anger without being overtaken by it. When you tap into your inner strength, anger no longer has the power to control you. Instead, you regain control of your emotional life. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to stay grounded in the face of challenges, and to remain composed under pressure. Cultivating resilience against anger starts with recognizing that you have the ability to choose your response to any situation. Life is full of moments that can trigger anger, but your power lies in how you respond to those triggers. By cultivating emotional resilience, you develop the ability to pause, breathe, and make a conscious choice about how you will react, rather than simply allowing anger to dictate your actions. One of the first steps in building resilience against anger is to shift your mindset. Rather than seeing anger as something to avoid or suppress, you can learn to view it as an opportunity for growth. Anger often arises when our boundaries are crossed, or when we feel disrespected, misunderstood, or threatened. Instead of reacting automatically, resilience allows you to take a step back and ask yourself, what is this anger teaching me? Why am I feeling this way? This shift in perspective helps you see anger as a signal, a chance to learn more about yourself, your needs, and your emotions, rather than seeing it as something to fear or suppress. Another key component of emotional resilience is developing self-awareness. The more you understand yourself, your triggers, your values, your emotional patterns, the easier it becomes to manage your emotions, including anger. Self-awareness allows you to spot the early signs of anger before they escalate. You begin to recognize when your body starts to tense up, when your heart rate increases, or when your thoughts start to spiral. By tuning into these early signs, you can create space between the stimulus, what made you angry, and your reaction. This space gives you the ability to pause, reflect, and choose a more mindful response. Building resilience also involves cultivating emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is the ability to manage your emotions in a way that is healthy and productive. It's not about suppressing or ignoring your feelings, but about learning to express them in constructive ways. When you're feeling angry, resilience allows you to release that anger through healthy outlets, whether it's through deep breathing, journaling, physical exercise, or having a calm and respectful conversation with the person involved. Instead of bottling up your anger or allowing it to explode in an uncontrolled outburst, emotional resilience helps you channel that energy into something positive and productive. One powerful way to cultivate resilience is to develop a sense of self-compassion. When we're angry, it's easy to fall into self-criticism, blaming ourselves for our emotions or for how we reacted. However, self-compassion allows you to treat yourself with kindness and understanding, even when you're experiencing difficult emotions like anger. When you can accept that anger is a natural emotion rather than something to be ashamed of, you create space for healing and growth. Self-compassion reminds you that you are human And it's okay to feel angry. It's how you respond to that anger that matters. By showing yourself compassion, you increase your emotional resilience and strengthen your ability to handle anger with grace. Resilience also involves taking responsibility for your emotions. It's easy to blame others or external circumstances for making us angry, but true emotional resilience comes from recognizing that we are the ones who choose how we react. When you take responsibility for your feelings, you empower yourself to take control of your emotional life. Instead of feeling helpless or victimized by your emotions, you realize that you have the strength to manage them and make decisions that align with your values. Another important aspect of resilience is building emotional flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and things won't always go according to plan. People will disappoint you, situations will be frustrating, and things will go wrong. Resilience allows you to roll with the punches, to adapt to changing circumstances, and to maintain your sense of peace even in the face of adversity. Emotional flexibility means that you are not rigid in your thinking or reactions. You can adjust your mindset and approach when things don't go as expected. By cultivating emotional flexibility, you become less reactive and more centered, even in the midst of challenging situations. Building inner strength also involves practicing mindfulness and meditation. These practices help you stay grounded in the present moment, reducing the intensity of negative emotions like anger. When you practice mindfulness, you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them. You learn to observe your emotions without judgment, which allows you to respond to anger with calmness and clarity rather than reacting impulsively. Meditation can also help you develop a sense of inner peace that serves as a foundation for emotional resilience, making it easier to remain composed in difficult situations. Resilience against anger is strengthened by having a clear sense of purpose and meaning in your life. When you are connected to your values and purpose, anger loses its power to derail you. You are better able to put things into perspective and understand that most challenges, including anger, are temporary. When you have a strong sense of direction and purpose, you are more likely to respond to anger in a way that aligns with your higher goals and aspirations, rather than being sidetracked by negative emotions. Rather than allowing anger to overwhelm you, you can confront it with strength, self-awareness, and emotional regulation. By building resilience, you tap into your inner power, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with greater ease and composure. With resilience, anger no longer controls you. Instead, you become the master of your emotions, responding to life with confidence, grace, and peace. Chapter 10. The Transformative Power of Patience, Turning Anger into Wisdom. Patience is often viewed as a passive virtue, a quality that involves waiting for things to happen in their own time without getting frustrated or impatient. However, when it comes to dealing with anger, patience is one of the most active and powerful tools at your disposal. In this chapter, we will explore how cultivating patience can transform your experience with anger and turn it into a source of wisdom, peace, and emotional strength. At its core, patience involves the ability to endure discomfort, frustration, and delay without allowing those feelings to overwhelm us. When we are angry, we often feel that things should be different right now, that we shouldn't have to wait, tolerate discomfort, or endure a frustrating situation. But anger often arises when things don't go the way we expect or want them to, and impatience makes it harder for us to cope. Instead of allowing anger to dictate our actions, patience helps us take a step back, slow down, and respond with a clear mind. It allows us to see the bigger picture, understand the root causes of our anger, and choose a more thoughtful, balanced response. The practice of patience can be incredibly powerful when it comes to managing anger, because it creates space between stimulus and reaction. In moments of anger, we often feel a rush of emotions that demand an immediate response. But when we practice patience, we don't feel the need to react right away. We allow ourselves time to process our emotions, reflect on the situation, and decide how we want to respond. This pause is incredibly valuable because it gives us the ability to make conscious choices rather than allowing our anger to control our behavior. Patience also helps us shift our mindset from one of resistance to one of acceptance. When we're angry, we often resist what is happening in the moment. We wish things were different, we focus on how unfair the situation is, and we get caught up in the why me mindset. But patience teaches us to accept that life is filled with uncertainties and imperfections. We cannot control everything, and things will not always go as planned. Instead of fighting against the present moment, patience allows us to flow with it. We stop resisting the anger we feel and allow ourselves to experience it without judgment. This acceptance doesn't mean we condone what happened or passively accept mistreatment. It means that we stop allowing the anger to consume us. We make the decision to let go of the need for control and allow ourselves to move forward with peace. The power of patience is also found in the way it encourages empathy and understanding. Anger often arises when we feel misunderstood, disrespected, or wronged. However, when we practice patience, we allow ourselves the time to step into the shoes of others. We begin to see that other people's actions are often driven by their own struggles, insecurities, and emotions. Patience gives us the opportunity to pause and reflect on the motivations behind someone's behavior. Instead of reacting with immediate judgment or hostility, we can respond with understanding, compassion, and clarity. One of the most transformative aspects of patience is its ability to turn anger into wisdom. When we are patient with ourselves and others, we begin to see that anger is not just a reaction, it's an opportunity for growth and learning. Anger often arises from unmet expectations, misunderstandings, or unresolved emotions. By practicing patience, we give ourselves the space to explore these underlying causes and gain deeper insights into ourselves and others. We begin to see that anger is often a reflection of our unmet needs, and patience allows us to identify those needs and address them in a healthy way. Instead of getting stuck in the emotion of anger, patience helps us use it as a stepping stone to greater self-awareness and emotional maturity. Cultivating patience also teaches us the value of long-term perspective. Anger often comes from a short-term view of a situation, focusing on how we feel in the moment or what's happening right now. However, when we practice patience, we are able to step back and see the bigger picture. We realize that life is filled with ups and downs, and one difficult moment does not define us. Patience helps us understand that everything is temporary. The frustration we feel in the present is just a passing moment, and with time, we will be able to move beyond it. This long-term perspective reduces the intensity of anger because it allows us to see that there is more to life than the momentary frustration we're experiencing. Another key benefit of patience is that it helps us break free from the trap of instant gratification. In today's fast-paced world, we are conditioned to expect quick results, immediate answers, and instant solutions. When things don't go our way right away, we can feel a surge of frustration or anger. But patience teaches us to embrace the process rather than fixating on the outcome. It reminds us that some things take time and that growth, healing, and change don't happen overnight. By practicing patience, we learn to trust the process and let go of the need for instant solutions. This shift in mindset allows us to face challenges with more grace and resilience, rather than reacting impulsively out of frustration. Building patience requires practice, but over time, it becomes a natural part of your emotional toolkit. One way to practice patience is through mindfulness meditation. By sitting quietly and observing your thoughts and emotions, you can train yourself to be patient with whatever arises, whether it's anger, frustration, or any other emotion. Another way to practice patience is through deep breathing exercises. When you're feeling angry, take a few deep breaths and focus on the sensation of the breath entering and leaving your body. This simple act helps you slow down, regain control, and respond to anger with more clarity and calmness. We've explored the transformative power of patience and how it can turn anger into wisdom. Patience doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring your anger. It means giving yourself the time and space to process it in a healthy, thoughtful way. When you practice patience, you allow yourself to see beyond the immediate frustration and to understand the deeper causes of your anger. Patience empowers you to choose a response that is in alignment with your values, and it helps you transform moments of anger into opportunities for growth, insight, and emotional maturity. By cultivating patience, you can face life's challenges with greater emotional strength, clarity, and peace. Chapter 11. The Freedom of Forgiveness, Letting Go of Anger and Reclaiming Your Peace. Forgiveness is one of the most profound and transformative tools for releasing anger and finding inner peace. It's often said that holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. When we hold on to grudges, resentments, or feelings of betrayal, we think we're punishing the other person, but in reality, we're only hurting ourselves. Anger and bitterness eat away at our happiness, peace of mind, and emotional health. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door to freedom from this emotional burden. In this chapter, we'll explore the power of forgiveness, not as a way to condone or excuse the actions of others, but as a way to release ourselves from the chains of anger and reclaim our inner peace. One of the first things to understand about forgiveness is that it's not about letting someone off the hook for their behavior. Forgiveness doesn't mean that what happened was okay, or that you should allow others to continue to hurt you. Instead, forgiveness is about choosing to free yourself from the emotional grip that anger, resentment, and hurt have on you. It's about letting go of the past so that it no longer controls your present or future. Holding on to anger keeps you tied to the person or event that hurt you, and that tie prevents you from fully healing and moving forward. Forgiveness allows you to cut that tie, releasing yourself from the past and from the emotional energy that comes with it. Forgiveness is not easy, especially when we've been deeply hurt. Often our anger comes from a place of vulnerability, feeling disrespected, misunderstood, or betrayed. It's natural to want justice or retribution, to feel that the other person should pay for what they've done. But forgiveness isn't about seeking justice or punishing the other person. It's about healing yourself. By choosing to forgive, you take back your emotional power and stop letting the actions of others control your happiness. When you forgive, you're not absolving anyone of responsibility. You're choosing to release the hold that their actions have on your life. One of the most powerful aspects of forgiveness is its ability to break the cycle of anger. Anger often arises from a sense of injustice, feeling that we've been wronged or mistreated. But when we hold on to that anger, we create a cycle of negativity that only perpetuates our suffering. The longer we hold on to anger and resentment, the more it consumes us, and the harder it becomes to break free. Forgiveness is the antidote to this cycle. When you forgive, you break the chain that keeps you bound to the person or event that caused your anger. Forgiveness frees you from the emotional weight of the past, allowing you to move forward with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. Another crucial aspect of forgiveness is learning to forgive yourself. Often, we are our own harshest critics, blaming ourselves for things we've done or failed to do. We carry guilt, shame, and regret, which can lead to self-directed anger. Just as we must learn to forgive others, we must also learn to forgive ourselves. Self-forgiveness allows us to release the shame and guilt that keep us stuck in patterns of anger and self-blame. It's important to remember that you are human, and like everyone else, you make mistakes. Self-forgiveness doesn't mean excusing or justifying your actions. It means accepting that you are imperfect and giving yourself the grace to learn, grow, and move on. Forgiveness is also a process, not a one-time event. It's normal for feelings of anger and hurt to resurface after we've chosen to forgive. Sometimes it can feel like forgiveness is a battle we have to fight over and over, but each time you choose to forgive, you move one step closer to freedom. Just like building emotional resilience, forgiveness takes practice and patience. It's important to be kind to yourself in the process and to understand that healing from hurt takes time. Every time you choose to forgive, you release more of the emotional weight that has been holding you down, and you make space for peace and happiness. One of the most profound benefits of forgiveness is that it brings you peace. Anger keeps you trapped in a state of emotional turmoil, constantly revisiting past hurts and replaying old wounds. Forgiveness breaks that cycle by giving you the ability to let go of the past and live in the present. It allows you to find peace, not because everything is perfect or because the person who wronged you has changed, but because you've made the conscious choice to let go of the emotional burden. When you forgive, you reclaim your inner peace and free yourself from the mental and emotional shackles of anger. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forget what happened or that you automatically restore trust in the person who hurt you. Forgiveness is about letting go of the negative emotions associated with the situation while still protecting yourself and setting healthy boundaries. You don't have to reconcile with the person who hurt you, but you do have to free yourself from the grip of anger and resentment. In some cases, forgiveness means distancing yourself from toxic relationships or situations, but it always means releasing the emotional hold that anger has on you. This chapter will guide you through the process of forgiveness, helping you understand that it is not a gift for the person who wronged you, but a gift for yourself. When you forgive, you release the chains of anger and free yourself to move forward with a lighter heart and a clear mind. Forgiveness doesn't condone the wrongs that were done. It simply allows you to find peace in the midst of your pain. The act of forgiveness is a powerful choice that empowers you to reclaim your happiness, your peace, and your life. Forgiveness is one of the most transformative acts of self-love and healing. When you forgive, you let go of anger and make space for peace. You reclaim your emotional freedom and release the past, allowing yourself to step into a future filled with joy, healing, and personal growth. Chapter 12. The Art of Self-Care, Nurturing Your Mind and Body to Combat. Anger. Self-care is often misunderstood as a luxury, something to be done when you have extra time or when life is running smoothly. However, when it comes to managing and reducing anger, self-care is not just an option, it is a necessity. The way we treat ourselves, both mentally and physically, has a profound impact on how we handle emotions like anger. In this chapter, we'll explore the powerful role that self-care plays in cultivating emotional balance and reducing the intensity of anger. By nurturing your mind and body, you not only promote overall well-being, but also create a strong foundation for emotional resilience. The first step in using self-care to combat anger is recognizing that your emotional state is deeply intertwined with your physical health. When you're physically tired, stressed, or unwell, it becomes much harder to manage your emotions effectively. Lack of sleep, poor poor nutrition, and chronic stress can all contribute to heightened irritability, impatience, and an increased likelihood of anger. By taking care of your body, you create a healthier emotional environment that makes it easier to stay calm and composed, even in the face of challenges. Sleep is one of the most important aspects of self-care when it comes to managing anger. Lack of sleep affects your brain's ability to regulate emotions, making you more prone to mood swings, irritability, and overreacting to small triggers. Sleep deprivation impairs your judgment and patience, which means that even minor inconveniences can send you into a state of frustration or anger. Prioritizing rest and making sure you get enough sleep each night will help you maintain emotional balance and keep anger at bay. Nutrition also plays a critical role in emotional regulation. The foods you eat can either fuel or hinder your emotional well-being. Consuming a balanced diet rich in whole foods, lean proteins, healthy fats, and plenty of fruits and vegetables can have a significant positive impact on your mood. On the other hand, diets high in processed foods, refined sugars, and caffeine can lead to energy crashes, irritability, and increased stress. When your body is nourished properly, you're better able to handle stressful situations with a calm and clear mind, making it easier to resist the urge to respond with anger. Exercise is another powerful form of self-care that can help reduce anger. Physical activity releases endorphins, chemicals in the brain that act as natural mood boosters. Regular exercise helps alleviate stress and anxiety, which are often underlying causes of anger. When you engage in activities like walking, jogging, yoga, or weightlifting, you not only improve your physical health, but also release pent-up tension, making it easier to manage your emotions. Exercise helps to regulate your nervous system, giving you a sense of calm and mental clarity that carries over into your interactions with others. Mental self-care is equally important when it comes to managing anger. Taking the time to nurture your mind and emotional health helps you build the resilience needed to respond to anger in a healthier way. One of the most effective ways to care for your mental health is through mindfulness practices. Mindfulness helps you stay present in the moment, allowing you to recognize when anger is beginning to build and giving you the opportunity to pause, reflect, and choose a measured response. Meditation, deep breathing, and mindfulness exercises all promote emotional awareness and provide tools for releasing anger before it escalates. Journaling is another powerful mental self-care practice that can help you process and release anger. Writing down your thoughts and feelings gives you a safe space to express what's bothering you without the need to react impulsively. Journaling allows you to explore the root causes of your anger, identify any patterns, and gain insights into why you're feeling upset. By putting your thoughts on paper, you can also track your emotional progress over time, helping you recognize when anger is beginning to take hold and providing you with the tools to manage it more effectively. Setting boundaries is a critical aspect of mental self-care. Often we get angry because our boundaries are violated, whether it's at work, in relationships, or in social situations. Learning to set clear, healthy boundaries with others is an act of self-respect and protection. When you communicate your needs and limitations effectively, you reduce the chances of being put in situations that trigger anger. Setting boundaries also helps prevent burnout, as you're able to say no when necessary and avoid taking on more than you can handle. When you respect your own boundaries, you protect your emotional well-being and create space for a calm, balanced life. In addition to physical and mental self-care, emotional self-care is essential for managing anger. This involves engaging in activities that nurture your emotional needs and help you process difficult feelings in a healthy way. One powerful form of emotional self-care is practicing self-compassion. When you're angry, it's easy to become self-critical, blaming yourself for not being able to control your emotions. However, Self-compassion involves treating yourself with kindness and understanding, especially during times of emotional struggle. By acknowledging that you are human and that anger is a natural emotion, you allow yourself to experience it without judgment, which ultimately helps you release it more easily. Creative outlets are another excellent form of emotional self-care. Expressing yourself through art, music, writing, or other creative activities allows you to process complex emotions like anger in a healthy way. These activities provide a release for intense feelings, offering you a constructive way to cope with anger while also promoting relaxation and joy. Creative expression can help you understand and articulate your emotions more clearly, making it easier to let go of anger and find peace. Taking time for relaxation and leisure activities is a key component of self-care that often gets overlooked. We live in a fast-paced world where we're constantly on the go, but taking time to relax and unwind is essential for emotional balance. Whether it's reading a book, taking a warm bath, spending time in nature, or simply enjoying a hobby, engaging in activities that bring you joy and relaxation helps reduce stress, promote happiness, and improve overall emotional health. When you take time to care for yourself, you're better able to face challenges with a calm and clear mind, and you're less likely to let anger take over. Self-care is not a luxury. It's a necessity for managing anger and maintaining emotional well-being. By nurturing your body, mind, and emotions, you build a foundation of strength and resilience that allows you to handle life's challenges with grace and composure. When you prioritize self-care, you create the emotional space needed to respond to anger in a healthy way, ultimately leading to greater peace, happiness, and emotional freedom. Chapter 13. The Power of Positive Thinking, Shifting Your Mindset to Overcome Anger. Anger can often be fueled by our thoughts and beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world around us. How we perceive situations, whether through a lens of negativity, frustration, or helplessness, can either intensify our anger or help us navigate it with clarity and calm. In this chapter, we'll explore the transformative power of positive thinking and how shifting your mindset can help you overcome anger. When you train your mind to focus on the positive, you create an environment where anger becomes less overwhelming and less frequent, allowing you to experience greater peace and emotional control. The first step in harnessing the power of positive thinking to overcome anger is to recognize that your thoughts play a crucial role in how you experience emotions. Our minds are powerful, and the way we think about a situation directly influences how we feel about it. For example, if you encounter a frustrating situation, your immediate thoughts might be, "This is unfair," or "This always happens to me." These thoughts can lead to feelings of helplessness, resentment, and eventually, anger. However, if you reframe those thoughts into something more positive, such as, "This is a challenge I can handle," or "I'll learn from this situation," you shift your emotional response from anger to acceptance or even problem-solving. Positive thinking isn't about ignoring difficulties. It's about changing how you perceive them. One of the most effective ways to shift your mindset is by practicing gratitude. Gratitude is the antidote to negativity because it encourages you to focus on what's going right in your life, even when things aren't perfect. When you're feeling angry, take a moment to reflect on the things you're grateful for. This simple shift in focus can immediately change your perspective, helping you realize that, while there may be challenges, there are also blessings and things to appreciate. By practicing gratitude regularly, you train your mind to naturally seek out the good in every situation, reducing the emotional intensity of anger. Another powerful tool for shifting your mindset is cognitive reframing. Cognitive reframing is the practice of changing the way you view a situation by challenging negative or unhelpful thoughts. For example, If you feel angry because someone has cut you off in traffic, your initial thought might be, "This person is so rude and inconsiderate." However, reframing this thought might involve thinking, "Maybe this person is in a rush and doesn't realize the impact of their actions. I can stay calm and avoid letting this ruin my day." By reframing your thoughts, you gain control over your emotional response and choose a more peaceful, less reactive approach. Positive thinking also involves learning to accept and embrace the things you cannot change. Often, we become angry because we're focused on controlling situations or people who are beyond our influence. Positive thinking teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, reactions, and attitudes, while letting go of the need to control everything around us. This acceptance doesn't mean resigning ourselves to a passive or complacent mindset. It means recognizing that life is full of unpredictability and that we have the power to control how we respond to the unexpected. When you accept that some things are beyond your control, you stop fighting against reality and begin to move forward with more peace and resilience. In addition to reframing and gratitude, another key practice for positive thinking is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of staying present in the moment without judgment. When you're angry, it's easy to become consumed by your thoughts, replaying what happened, imagining what you could have said or done differently, or anticipating what will happen next. This type of overthinking fuels anger and keeps you stuck in negative emotions. Mindfulness helps you step out of this cycle by bringing your attention back to the present moment. By focusing on your breath, your surroundings, or the sensations in your body, you redirect your energy away from the anger and into a state of calm awareness. Mindfulness allows you to observe your thoughts without getting caught up in them, which helps you gain perspective and reduce the intensity of your emotional reaction. Positive thinking also helps you develop emotional resilience. When you think positively, you build a mental framework that allows you to bounce back from setbacks more easily. Instead of viewing challenges as obstacles, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth. This shift in mindset allows you to handle difficult situations with greater composure and less frustration. When you face a challenge with a positive outlook, you're more likely to approach it with patience and problem-solving rather than anger and defeat. Over time, this resilience helps you become more adaptable to life's ups and downs, reducing the frequency and intensity of anger. It's also important to practice self-compassion as part of positive thinking. When we're angry, we often become self-critical, thinking that we should be more in control of our emotions or that we're somehow failing. Self-compassion is the practice of treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend. Instead of beating yourself up for feeling angry, self-compassion allows you to accept your emotions without judgment. When you're compassionate with yourself, you release the shame or guilt that often accompanies anger, allowing you to process the emotion more effectively and move forward with greater ease. Another aspect of positive thinking is visualizing positive outcomes. When you're feeling angry, it's easy to focus on worst-case scenarios and negative outcomes. However, by practicing positive visualization, you can shift your focus toward hopeful and empowering images. Imagine yourself handling a frustrating situation with calm, grace, and confidence. Picture yourself responding to anger with patience and understanding, or visualize the resolution of a conflict in a way that leaves you feeling peaceful and content. Visualization helps you train your mind to focus on the positive, giving you the tools to handle challenges in a calm and positive manner. Incorporating positive thinking into your daily routine takes practice, but over time, it becomes a natural way of being. By choosing to focus on the positive, whether through gratitude, reframing, mindfulness, or self-compassion, you can shift your mindset and reduce the grip that anger has on your life. Positive thinking doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to respond to life with optimism, resilience, and emotional strength. When you adopt a positive mindset, you make space for peace, clarity, and happiness, and you take away the power that anger has to control your emotions and your life. Throughout this journey, we've explored the complex and transformative nature of anger, learning how it impacts our lives and how we can take control over it. Anger, while a natural human emotion, does not have to rule us. We've discovered that by understanding its roots, practicing self-awareness, and adopting powerful tools like mindfulness, forgiveness, self-care, and positive thinking, we can change the way we respond to anger and create a life filled with peace and emotional balance. Anger often arises when we feel hurt, misunderstood, or powerless. However, we've learned that these emotions don't define us. They are simply signals that we need to address deeper needs or wounds. By reframing our thinking, practicing patience, and learning to forgive ourselves and others, we can begin to release the grip of anger. In doing so, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of frustration and resentment, and instead, we create space for joy, compassion, and emotional resilience. Self-care has proven to be one of the most important foundations for overcoming anger. By nurturing our bodies, minds, and spirits, we provide ourselves with the strength and clarity needed to manage difficult emotions. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, and mindfulness all contribute to a healthier emotional state, enabling us to respond to life's challenges with calm and grace. The more we take care of ourselves, the less likely we are to be consumed by anger. Patience has emerged as a powerful ally in the battle against anger. Learning to pause, accept what we cannot control, and allow situations to unfold naturally allows us to navigate life with more peace. When we stop resisting, we stop feeding our anger, and we open the door to understanding, acceptance, and personal growth. Both for ourselves and others is the key to unlocking lasting freedom. Holding on to resentment only keeps us emotionally tethered to the past. By choosing to forgive, we release the emotional burden that anger has placed on us, freeing ourselves from its grip. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior. It simply means reclaiming our peace by letting go of the past and choosing to move forward with a lighter heart. Through positive thinking, we've learned how to shift our mindset to one of empowerment, focusing on what we can control and embracing a life of gratitude and optimism. By training our minds to focus on the positive, we reduce the intensity of negative emotions like anger and invite more peace, joy, and resilience into our lives. This book has shown that anger doesn't have to define our lives. By embracing the practices of mindfulness, self-care, patience, forgiveness, and positive thinking, we can shift our emotional landscape from one of turmoil to one of peace. Each of us has the power to transform our relationship with anger, turning it from a destructive force into an opportunity for growth, healing, and empowerment. As you move forward from this book, remember that change takes time and practice. Be patient with yourself, and know that every step you take toward releasing anger is a step toward greater emotional freedom and peace. You deserve a life filled with calm, understanding, and happiness. By embracing these tools, you can create a future where anger no longer holds you back, but instead, you reclaim your power to live with grace, resilience, and joy. Thank you for taking this journey with me. The path to a life free from anger is within your reach. Embrace it and step into the peace and happiness that await you.